So what this is the second of a series we started, so you're still kind of guinea pigs. Thank you for that. But what we've been trying to do is spend some time and give our friends, and then eventually some of this will be used online, sort of like an insight into some of the artists they see on the stage. So what's really funny about this, the first one we did was John from Les Mis, and I've known John for a decade. We've just met, so we're going to do the opposite thing because Dreamgirls has been a really intense rehearsal process. We'll talk about that. One of our texts got rained out, so they're all heroes. But we really haven't had the time, and we keep running by each other, and I'm like, I'm fascinated. So here's what I'm going to start with. You are such an exciting talent on stage, and I mean that so sincerely, and I've said that to you. Like you walk up, you'll see it tonight if you haven't seen it, like he walks on stage and the audience's eye goes, boom, who's that? There's a presence and an energy and a style that's just magical. So I want to take us back, where you grew up, how you discovered you had talent, what's that story?
Well, I am a preacher's kid from Alabama who was very adamant about only doing sports and going to college for track and field. So the fact that this is my life now is a really exciting journey. I come from a big family of singers. My dad pastor, sang in church all the time. My mom, musician. My sister, musician, and singers. And so singing was just like always a big part of my life, and I always loved. I know my first stage was when I got a reaction at church, and I noticed that people started clapping and feeling better when I started to have fun. So that was my first little take of theater. But I focused on sports until high school, and I auditioned for the musical by mistake. Literally. So
you didn't read the sign, you went in the wrong room.
So the story is, my sister this was my first day of high school, and my sister, she was in middle school at a new school, and my mom had to do all this paperwork for my sister and called me after school and was like, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna be allowed about 40 minutes. And I was like, that's kind of a long time, but I'll just wait around with my friend. And my friend who knew that I could sing because we've grown up together, he was auditioning for the musical. And he told me to come in and just do the audition since I was waiting around with him anyway. And I was reckless. I was like not taking it seriously, didn't know what theater was, got in trouble for being loud, and then got up and sang Summertime, which I thought was by Fantasia. Because she did it on American Idol.
Absolutely. You know what you know.
I had no clue it was from the iconic Porgy and Bess. So I confidently got up there and was like, I'm going to sing Summertime by Fantasia from American Idol. And they're like, okay. And it went really well. And I got cast, but I didn't know because I didn't even know about a cast list. So my friend had to tell me that the next day that I was on the cast list for that and a competition piece that they were doing. And I was planning to stay there and just I wasn't going to do football there, but I was going to do track, which started the second semester. And so when I got that, I told my mom, I was like, I got cast in this thing and it would require me to be rehearsing after school, but I don't want to do it. And she was just like, well, why did you sign up? I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. She was like, well, we don't quit in this family. Literally. It was the most, like, she was like, well, you shouldn't have, you're not going to just quit on them. She knows nothing about theater, but she was just like, you're not going to be rude. You're going to do it. And that's when I found my tribe in theater people, like immediately, instantly.
What was the show?
Songs for a New World.
Oh, okay. You had an interesting drama teacher.
I did. And we did a competition piece. It was a play that my director wrote called Separate But Equal. And I played one of the supporting characters, and I ended up winning Best Supporting Actor in the competition piece for it in high school. And that's when I was like, maybe I'm good at this. So after that, I built a relationship with the theater department, and track season was getting ready to start. And he asked me, he was like, do you want a scholarship for track? Do you want a scholarship for theater? And right there in that moment, I knew that I was going to do theater for the rest of my life. And so that's when I decided.
Yeah, right. Okay, so many questions, but well, no, I'm just imagining being that drama teacher and this kid walking in and hearing that voice and being like, okay, now I know I'm a teacher. Seriously, I'm sure they were so inspired. So then you went to University of Alabama.
Yes.
And you studied musical theater or theater?
For musical theater.
Musical theater.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened in 2014?
Well, right out of school, I was lucky enough to make my Broadway debut understudying Billy Porter in Kinky Boots. But it was the craziest thing. I was auditioning for it during my senior year of college. And my family is doing well, but we don't have money for me to be flying back and forth from New York to Alabama, which is where I'm from. And I went to school at University of Alabama. And I knew that I had like so many hours on my senior year to get done to graduate and everything. And I also knew that I needed to pick up a new shift at the local restaurant so that I could pay for these plane tickets to go. And so I had 7 callbacks for Kinky Boots. It was originally for the national tour of Kinky Boots. But these people don't know who I am, so they put me through the ringer. So they were like, that was great. Let's see him again. So 7 callbacks in a month's time of me flying back and forth from Alabama. On my way back home for my last audition for the tour, I noticed that the tour was cast. And then I got so upset, and I was like, oh my God, what? I'm not gonna get it. And then literally after noticing that, I got a phone call, and they said to me, because it was an immediate placement, said, hi, Nick, we know you auditioned for Kinky Boots tour recently, but we would like you to join the Broadway company understudying Billy Porter, and you start rehearsals next week. Are you available? To which I'm bursting in tears in the airport on my way back to Alabama, crying, and I'll never forget, this lady like came up to me. She thought I was so sad because I was crying. This lady that doesn't know, she was like, it's all right, baby. And I was like, I'm gonna be on Broadway. So
You're damn right, it's all right.
I went home, packed up my stuff in Alabama, said goodbye to my life that I only knew in the South, and I started rehearsals in New York, and that was the rest was history.
So how long have you known other cast members in this cast? Aisha, who plays Dina. No, I didn't realize that when this was cast, suddenly it was like, I mean, we've been working with Telsey, and Michael Baxter did a brilliant job, but suddenly I realized it was sort of a family affair.
Yes.
Tell me about these connections.
Well, me and Aisha did...
Who plays Dina.
Yes, she's incredible. We did the international thespian cast of Hairspray. So that's the first high school to ever do Hairspray, which I felt so cool about. I was very excited. I was like, ooh, we're doing Hairspray. It was like all I could think about. And that's when she was one of the Dynamites.
Okay.
And we met there, and we became close friends instantly. I mean, I've been her biggest fan since I was a kid. Her voice to me is just like,
incredible.
And so I remember telling my entire family about her. Literally, like, my family knows about Aisha Jackson. And so we have this thing called SETC, Southern Eastern Theater Conference, and it's where a lot of different colleges and people that are auditioning for summer work at all, they come in and they audition for these different types, these different seasons of shows, like summer shows and national tours. And so all the high schools all over in the South, we all meet up for this 1 week conference. And it was just like all the theater kids all around, where we were on Facebook, we know each other, we've seen each other's audition videos on YouTube, you know, like just other weirdos like me, like, but you haven't met yet. Yeah. And we all come in on 1 week, and it's like the most magical thing. It was, for my freshman year, I did it, freshman stuff all the way through senior year. And every time I looked forward to seeing Aisha, and she was actually the first person to see my principal debut as Lola in Kinky Boots. And I saw her Broadway debut in Beautiful. And so, and we also starred together in Sister Acts together. So like, she's just been one of my like close friends that literally from the beginning. Yeah.
So tell me about doing Dreamgirls for you. So this is this is an amazing character, and his journey is so powerful for the audience. Just talk about living his journey every night for you.
Well, James Brown specifically is one of my biggest inspirations in the world. I've come from a very Christian family, and I couldn't listen to anything but gospel music till I was 16. And if I were to dare change the radio station while my mom was in there,
That's a problem.
it's like, what am I trying to kill myself? No. And so, but the one artist my mom did not mind
Oh, wow.
was James Brown.
Loophole. Amazing.
And so, besides all the gospel records I listened to every day, that was the one. James Brown was the person that, and it was just a voice that I felt was kind of similar to mine, because like I have a very distinct voice, and people can make fun of it because it sounds crazy sometimes. It's very tough, and like hearing his voice, I felt like I could relate to how he sang, and I just studied James Brown, and he became one of my favorite people, like artists ever. And I remember seeing the movie of Dreamgirls, and Eddie Murphy is. These people are on my wall, and these are my biggest inspirations. And I'm just living in Alabama, seeing people that look like me on TV, and it just does something to you. It really does. Like, James Brown was the first time I felt seen, and that I could be seen as a star. And so when I saw Dreamgirls, and I saw that Eddie Murphy was playing this part that was based off of like James Brown and like that type of era, that type of singer, I will never forget. This is when I was deep in sports. I was playing football, and that was all I knew at the time. But I didn't know what theater was. I just saw that movie, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that so badly. And I studied the show every day after that movie. And I really can't believe I'm doing this part right now, because it's my absolute dream show. My absolute favorite part. I've literally for years have been saying, I can't leave this earth without doing this part. So I'm very, very grateful to be here. So thank you for that.
No problem. So you brought it up a couple times. So how is your family with you having a career in musical theater?
Well, they are very supportive, because they're all musicians and athletes. And
How many siblings?
I have one sister.
One sister. Okay.
And and my cousin who grew up with me, basically. And we're a big family on both sides of my family. And a lot of people on my dad's side of the family, they're all tall and basketball players and gorgeous singers. And on my mom's side of the family, that's the football side, all short, stout, and rough. And so I was always in that mix, and we always had music in our lives, but none of us had an education on what you could do with singing other than singing in church. And and I knew that if I wanted to go to college, I needed to get a scholarship. So I just trained hard in sports, not realizing that theater could really be the thing that could be my whole life. And so, of course, it was a little shocking when I'm getting ready I'm like training all summer to like get this scholarship in track, and then I'm like, hey family, psych, doing some musicals. But,
Got a scholarship. However,
yeah, it was them. It took them like seeing this and me introducing them to this art form for them to realize that they loved it just as much as I do. So it's been. I got off the phone with my mom's coming tomorrow.
Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah,
Good.
And so it's gonna be crazy for her to see this, but because she of all people know, she's seen me in the living room trying to do my James Brown splits for years. So yeah.
I don't know. Can you hear every night? You get applause in all the splits.
I didn't hear that, and I was like, okay, thanks. Because it's hot, and I'm working hard.
Well, he does one. and then da-da-da-da, and then he goes boom, boom, and then everyone just kind of loses it. Yeah, no. I was like, I don't know if he hears this because the music's quite loud at that point.
I did hear it a little bit, and I was like, is that really happening right now? All right, cool.
Well, one of the things with Dreamgirls is in the production you'll see tonight is we do all the original or an adaptation, but it's 90% there of Michael Bennett's original brilliant staging and choreography, and he was at the forefront of sort of picking up from Jerome Robbins of making musicals cinematic and scenes going into each other and not stopping and changing your perspective. And one thing you'll notice tonight in the show goes 50, the orchestra plays from The Amazing Cowbell, the music does not stop for 50 minutes.
Wow.
Like one thing goes in another, and one of the you get all the best stuff. You really do get all those best transitions. So the transition into Fake Your Way to the Top, James Thunder Early, is just magnificent because literally, and everybody's on stage and all of this. Your ability to dance is unbelievable. Where did that come from?
The dancing really came late. I was always a very energetic kid, and I had already had. This is random. I already had certain credits for PE because I just did extra stuff in middle school, and so when I went to this new high school, they gave me the option to take a hip hop class or PE, and I was like. To a hip hop class, are you joking?
Yeah.
And that was the first time I ever learned a combination, and from that, the dance teacher of that was asking me if I would want to be in the theater program, and that's how I met a theater director that ended up changing my life. And so it was I took a dance class in my sophomore year of high school, and then I just kept taking it. And then they would ask me to do certain projects. Then I actually got into choreography. I choreographed a lot for that. It just became a big thing. And then they were just okay, now we need to be serious with you. And then they spent a whole year making to point your toes. No, if you're gonna really do this, now let's get serious. And they were and I appreciate that so much today because I did notice the change when they saw the potential in me, and they were just really hard on me and made sure that that I wasn't just some kid with talent that didn't have any training. I remember feeling that from my teachers growing up. And so by the time I got to college, I had trained as much as I could because I knew that a lot of kids had already been doing ballet since they were little kids, and I didn't. That was never my journey. So I knew that I wanted to be better at dance. So I'll never forget. It's so dramatic. I walked into my dance teacher in college, his dance department, Cornelius Carter. He is a former choreographer at Alvin Ailey. So I was I can't mess up around him. Very okay. And I walked into his office. And I said, I'm a musical theater student here, but I want to challenge myself, and I would like to do your dance classes. And if you could audit me in these, I would make sure that I make you proud. And he was it was so dramatic. And he was very sassy man, the sassiest man you've ever met. He was we'll see. That wasn't an answer. I was so I'm on the class, and then I got an email later that I was in the class. I was okay, so it's gonna be that. Great. And he was so hard on me, and I just saw him when I was in New York in the gym. I literally was in the gym, and he stopped every day. He was "It's a superstar in here." Everybody was it was the sweetest thing. I was I haven't seen you in so long, and you're here right now. But he was very adamant about making sure that once I got to New York, that I was not going to be the kid with all the energy and no technique. And I really appreciated that.
And there are a lot of those kids.
Yeah, because they're not introduced to someone that will take the time.
That's a beautiful, beautiful person looking after you.
Yeah.
All right, so we haven't had this conversation, and I'm going to use this word. How has it been having your first because there will be more Muny experiences.
Oh my God. You have to understand, I was that really crazy driven kid that was like always annoying my friends about coming to the Muny to audition. Like in college, once I discovered what it was, once I saw all the videos of like everyone I look up to like working at this place, I was like, what is this place? I was like, I want to go. Like, and so like for my sophomore year on, I tried to get my friends to drive up from Alabama to audition, and we never did.
Oh.
Lazy. But I didn't have a car that was worth anything. My car would have broke down, so I could not have done it. But so this full circle moment is crazy for me. I've always wanted to work here, and I was actually I was doing Moulin Rouge, and everyone in the cast that had already worked at the Muny before just knew how much of a good time I was going to have, and I could just feel them being so excited for me, and because they all knew the same story of me, like always wanting to work here, and to do Dreamgirls. It's crazy that as in college, I've been manifesting working at the Muny, not knowing, just didn't even care what the season was, just wanted to audition, but now I'm getting to do Dreamgirls, and I'm getting to play Jimmy Early. That's insane to me.
So if you saw Moulin Rouge at the Fox 8 weeks ago?
Yes, I was there.
He was there.
Yeah.
And he had been cast, and I'm watching the show, and again, I deal with too much information, and I'm watching, and I was like, oh my God, who is this? I've got to get him to the Muny. And then I was like, wait, no, that's him. Oh, he's coming. And I go backstage. I was like, oh, you're coming. I'm so happy. Because you were just incredible in that show. So have you done, how many tours have you done? You did Moulin Rouge.
Something Rotten was my first national tour.
Right.
And I played the minstrel, and I eventually got to cover Shakespeare in that show, which was a lot of fun, getting to do that part. And after that, I went into King Kong, the hardest contract of my life. No one understands how hard that show is because it didn't do the most well, but that was the show that challenged me in dance more than I've ever been challenged in my life. Like I will take that with me forever, being like, okay, you survived that, you could do a lot.
Well, those are good lessons.
Yeah.
No, they are.
Truly. And then I was blessed enough after that to do Tina on Broadway, and that was my first OBC, original Broadway. And I took over as Ike Turner, and that was my principal starring debut.
Who were your Tinas? Was it still Adrian?
I did it with Adrian.
Okay.
But it was in Keki and Kayla Davion.
Okay. And Keki's a Muny baby.
Oh yes, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's so amazing. And like getting to like have that experience with them was something I will never ever forget or take for granted. And they're still giant parts of my life. Like, and they will always be.
Opening the floor to questions. Yes.
Have you ever done outdoor theater before?
Once. Something Rotten. We what was it, Kansas
City Starlight.
Yes, Kansas Starlight. That was the first time. And I don't know if you've seen Something Rotten, but it's a lot of Elizabethan costumes. and it's a big comedy. So the whole joke is that that we're doing all of this crazy, energetic, modern movement, tap dancing, like full-blown giant Casey Nicola tap numbers in the heat. So that was, and my costume is just wool everything, like just head to toe, a pumpkin patch thing sitting on top of me, other pants on the top of that, boots up to here. I have never sweat more in my life, and I remember that specifically. So I was like, am I going to make it? Yeah. But actually, the last couple of days has been very cool.
Yes, it's actually been quite.
Yeah, today might be very hot, and I'm gonna move on from that.
You'll be once we get to 8:15. We're fine. No, it'll be. Yeah.
But that was my first time, and there's something about the adrenaline that, and actually, I feel like we're not the first people, so you guys have like made it a lot easier for people to deal with it. And so I was mostly afraid of like how much Jimmy Early has to do to do outdoors, but it hasn't been as crazy as I thought, actually.
I have one more. How far out
Well, the beginning, it's very intimidating because the sunlight is out for the like first 30 minutes. So I can see everyone. And that's extremely intimidating because my character from the jump is just very in your face and just like, accept me, and so when you're just doing all of that and people are just sitting there like, it's a little jarring. But they get into it, and but yeah, I really can see pretty far out. But then obviously at night, I don't see a thing.
I mean, it is truly deceptive because you think it's so vast that it would feel impersonal and big. But one of the things I do when I was watching somebody in rehearsal and I feel like they're giving their performance is going that way, I'll say here, and we'll go out on the stage, and I mean, you can see quite clearly, at least to the back of Terrace B. And when you're right there, it's like a black box. I mean, it's very intimate in there, and the energy, and you feel the energy from the audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can't quite figure out the physics of it. I've just lived it with so many artists who are like, oh, I had no idea. You can really feel how the audience is in the show. So the only way I can describe it is, instead of it being like you think you need to be a megaphone going out, it's more like a microscope coming in. The audience's energy comes in that way, right to you. So the more clear and focused you are and honest you are, the stronger it is. And our sound is like the best in the country. Mm-hmm. It's our secret sauce. So it goes in your ear, in your eye, and then eventually, in your heart, and sort of you follow the journey of these characters. Kind of is, I can't explain it, but I've just seen the physics work undeniably so. This was a tough sound show because you have you'll see the perspective of the show. There's upstage, offstage, all these things, and it took them like a performance or two to really understand what the information the audience hears. But in the third show, you probably noticed a difference in the audience reactions because they were getting all that information at the top of the show. And learning all that. So, anyway. Right. Yes?
Did you sing Nature Boy?
Yes, I played Toulouse-Lautrec in Moulin Rouge.
I loved it.
Thank
I went there
you.
to see the show 3 times, and you were fabulous.
Thank you. Very opposite of this part. 2 different times.
Yeah. Well,
Great job.
the other thing is, he also you have a recording career.
Yes.
Like, go to where you stream and put in his name, and you have like a couple EPs and all these songs, these amazing dance songs. Like, they're fantastic to work out to. I encourage you to listen to them. But no, seriously, they're good, like, when you have time to work out.
My friend just sent me a video today of them out, of the DJ playing my song, like out in DC at a party, and I was like,
Fantastic. Yeah, you did a video, you were at a club here in St. Louis.
yeah, I actually did a Pride event here, and I sang my single Gym Crush here, and it was like, that's like the small dream that I've always wanted to do for myself that I finally in the pandemic got the courage to do. The pandemic really took a shift for me because when a lot of people, when you lost all that time and had to sit with yourself, that was when I really was like, all right, if the world is over, I'm gonna do the things I've wanted to do my whole life. And that's when I just let go of fear, and I contacted all the contacts that I have that believe in me musically, and we made Todrick Hall, who was just here. He saw the show twice.
Yeah.
He's one of I understudied him in Kinky Boots, and we became really close friends. And his music team, his amazing music team, were the people that hooked me up and did my first EP. And we actually, the EP got it's called Pop Smash Radio Music Award for Best Album. And so
That's fantastic. Congratulations. Wow. I'm getting signals. Yes.
Okay, I can go quick. So fun to hear that this is your first Muny performance, and you've talked, Mike, about how this will be like a reprieve and a reset for performers. So what has been surprising to you about your experience here? Like, you've had such anticipation, knowing it's something you always wanted to do, but there has to be something that you've been delightfully surprised by. So what would that be?
The thing that I am surprised by is how we do it. I do mean that. Like, me being able to do something like this that is usually considered a 2-month process, and like we do it in like a couple weeks and so, but you prep before. Obviously, if you would like for it to go easy for you, you prep before. But it really showed me, I wanted to learn about myself in a challenging role like this specifically. For the past 2 years, Ike Turner, although very challenging, and though Toulouse very challenging acting roles, they don't challenge me as much as a singer. And so for the past few years, I've been like, I've just seen people leading shows, and I see them like being like, oh, I can't, and I'm like, what am I gonna be like when I am in a situation where I'm having to do like a really vocally demanding show? And I really took this opportunity to learn about my instrument and what I can do every day, like what my 8 shows a week is with challenging roles. And so I actually really appreciate this experience being the thing that taught me that, like, because I was intimidated to do, like, as much as I love this role, it's not easy. It's some of the craziest singing I'll probably ever do in my career. But, and so it was nice to, like, feel like I had a safe space to learn how to navigate that and to challenge myself to be able to learn that if I can do this in a week, I am very curious to know what I can figure out in an actual process. And something like this, they call it the Muny magic. Something like this is like you find out that magic, but the magic is usually I'm learning within yourself. Like all these people come into here and you're like, well, these amazing people have trusted me to do this job. I don't want to have egg on my face in front of 1,100 people. So you like, it's a beautiful thing of like why you get into it, why you realize you like it. The audience is like I think that's what I learned from this. I haven't done a part this difficult in this short amount of time. And I wasn't intimidated by it. I was just excited to see the challenge. And I think this really like helped me as an actor to be able to do this.
What very often happens, at least to what I witness, and definitely with this company, pretty much by the third night, they realize what they've accomplished together. And so not only during the show, but you just see this sense of celebration amongst each other. Like, look what we've done. And then that feeds into the audience energy and it keeps escalating. Like last night was insane. Like I was like, this is Dreamgirls, the party, you know, like it was just like the cast was on fire, the audience was on fire, everybody was just engaged in it in the most beautiful thing. But part of the secret sauce is, and then the other thing that comes into play is they realize, oh, the clock's ticking. We've created this beautiful thing, and soon it's going to end, which pumps it up even further. Like we're going to do it again tonight, this thing. But it is truly something these group of people have created together. Like the chemistry between the leads in the show is unbelievable for a 12-day process. Like the Dreamettes, you believe that they were best friends in high school. Like this whole thing and everything as it goes through. It's really just quite something. And that's why I was so curious, because there was trust amongst these people. I could tell in the rehearsal room right away. I was like, oh, where did that? Because usually there's a bit of sorting out, like, who are you? What are we doing? And then you find it. But you guys had it like from day one. Well,
I am very lucky to be working with a lot of friends. I've known Tiffany Mann. Tiffany Mann is one of my like first New York friends. Known her for years. I did a concert years ago with Marisha Wallace, who is amazing. Yeah. She and Tiffany Mann actually was our special guest, and we like did a song together. We did this amazing gospel medley of this song called "Great Is Your Mercy," and she sang, and everybody stood up while she was singing. And then from that point on, we were just like all like just going to church. It was amazing. And so, and like I said, I know Naisha for all these years. And then when I saw that Courtney, who plays Laurel, I realized that I had already obsessed over her video as T-Moon. And so I was like, oh, I will protect her for the ends of time. So let's just go. And so it was very easy. It was like a lot of people in our community that we've worked together. We've been out in New York City, like just fighting to figure out this industry together. Like, so it was quickly, we did make a really awesome bond that I will remember forever because of this show. And I'm very grateful for that.
I'm getting the wrapped up. Thank you, everybody, and thank you. And listen to this music, it's fantastic. Echoing what Jenny said, thank you, thank you, thank you. My husband and I are members of the Henry Kiel Society. It's so important. Thank you. Really, we want to be here long term, and that's what matters. So thank you so much. Enjoy the show.